Good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Wildcard Sunday. The playoffs are here. We had 2 games yesterday. We have another 3 games today. So we're going to talk, we'll talk DFS like we normally do. Jim, good morning. We'll talk some betting stuff, just higher level thoughts on the games. Mike Vrabel, some news too. I mean, Mike Vrabel got officially hired for the New England Patriots head coaching job. I think that's a great move. I think Mike Vrabel is a very good leader of men. I think he's a very good football coach. I would like to see him get progressive with his offensive coordinator hire, though. I think that if you look back at Mike Vrabel's tenure in Tennessee, he's a very good coach. But I think that offensive tendencies and kind of how they operated on offense was what separated them from being like just a good team to a great team, right? I think that's kind of what held them back. Now he's in a very, very good position on this team because he already has a quarterback in place in Drake May. They have a top pick in the draft and they don't need to spend it on a quarterback. They have a ton of cap space. They have a ton of draft picks in general, in this specific draft. So I think they're in a really, really good spot here to turn it around quickly with a rebuild. But I would like to see Mike Vrabel get progressive with that offensive coordinator hire, get someone in with some fresh concepts that, could really take Drake May to the next level, get him some playmakers, solidify the offensive line. And I think the Patriots could do a very, very quick rebuild here. When you hit on that quarterback that quick, which I think they did, that really accelerates kind of the process, So hopefully they're in a spot they can take advantage of the rookie contract there. And look, I mean, Miami last year kind of looked like up and coming. Now this year they kind of took a step back. So some question marks there. The Jets are just terrible all around. So other than the Bills, the Patriots are in a spot they can rise up the ranks of that division and they can get themselves right back in the AFC wildcard race as early as next year, I think. So, yeah, good hire there from New England, and we'll see kind of what the other teams do. I saw there was a report that there's interest between Dion and the Raiders, and then I saw another report that the Raiders were close and making progress with Ben Johnson. So, I don't really know what's going on there. I was kind of under the impression that Ben Johnson, if he were to leave Detroit, because it's such a good spot for him there, the only way he would do that is to go to a young kind of team with their quarterback solidified. The Raiders do not have that. But, I don't know the behind the scenes stuff. Maybe, he wants to pick his own quarterback. I have no idea. But, yeah, I thought that was interesting. Mitchell, what's up? All right, so like I said, we'll talk DFS. We'll talk some bets and stuff. If you guys have any questions on anything, go ahead and ask. I think for DFS for today, Josh Allen and Jane Daniels, those are probably going to be the 2 most popular quarterbacks on the 3-game slate. Tough for me not to go with Josh Allen in the spot. I think the Bills are going to roll. Personally, I could be wrong on that, but yeah, I think the Bills are going to. The public got crushed yesterday. Public was super heavy on the Chargers. I picked the Chargers to win the game, but I mean, I didn't bet on it. I did not feel comfortable betting on the Chargers, and they lost. But I mean, I liked the Ravens big. I wrote it in my blog, rollinginsights.com. Mike Tomlin was coming into yesterday's game 1-8 in his Steelers career against the spread in a game where he was an underdog of 8 or more points, and they were 9.5-point underdogs yesterday. They got smoked. So once again, now he's 1-9. So if you ever see the Steelers as big underdogs, just fade them blindly. I'm kind of kicking myself for not betting the Ravens, to be honest, because I did like them, but yeah, it's okay. No need to force anything. I really like the Bills today, though. I mean, it's 7.5 now. I like the 7.5. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but where do the Lions go from here? Um, yeah, I mean, look, Aaron Glenn, whatever. He's okay. I'm not saying he's a bad defensive coordinator by any means. I think he's good. But I don't think the Lions losing him is that big of a deal. Losing Ben Johnson is a big deal. Yeah, they're going to need to hit because if you're going to roll with Jared Goff as your quarterback, there's nothing wrong with Jared Goff. He's a perfectly serviceable NFL quarterback. He's taken a team to a Super Bowl already once in the past when he was with the Rams. He's in position to take a team this year again to the Super Bowl. But if you're going to roll with Jared Goff, you need a perfect situation around him. Jared Goff is very much, in my opinion, in the tier of quarterback that you can win with them. They're not necessarily, if things go wrong, they're going to go out and win a ton of games for you, right? And that's not a slight on Jared Goff. I think he's a perfectly serviceable NFL quarterback, but he is not in the top tier of quarterbacks. So he needs perfect situation around him. When he was with the Rams back in the day, that was the coming out of Sean McVay. Sean McVay did a lot of stuff for Jared Goff in terms of being in the headset, reading those coverages and stuff. Excuse me. So, they need perfect situation around him. And then he comes to Detroit and it's the same situation. He's got, arguably the best offensive coordinator in football. He's got Amon-Ra St. Brown. He has Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, a stud, absolute top-tier offensive line. Like, he's got everything he could want. So, I think, losing Ben Johnson, that's a big, big loss for Detroit. I'm not the biggest Eric Bieniemy fan, so I think they'd probably go the route of probably another young guy. Maybe they have somebody on staff that they've been grooming, right? I don't know. I'm not, super in tuned to the dynamics of the Detroit Lions organization. If Matt was here, maybe we could ask him that because he's a Lions fan. He might follow it a bit closely. Like, I think it's been pretty clear that Ben Johnson's going to leave eventually. So maybe there's someone that they've kind of been grooming for the job. Maybe they'll go look at, kind of what some of these other teams have been doing with taking these younger quarterback coaches from the good teams, right? Like the Tampa Bay did that this past year, and they've had a great season on offense. So we'll see what happens, but I definitely think Ben Johnson is a bigger loss than Aaron Glenn. Not to overstate Aaron Glenn's loss, but yeah, definitely a big loss. Lions losing him. All right, let's dive in. We'll dive into this first game. I tweeted it out already, but favorite prop on the board today is Ty Johnson receiving yards. We got it at 8.5 last night. It's still 8.5. So yeah, Ty Johnson over 8.5 receiving yards. I think it's a really, really good play. So Denver, like I said in my tweet, they're bottom 3 in defensive DVOA against the pass this season to running backs. They've been killed by running backs out of the backfield, and they will play kind of man heavy on the back end, especially with like Surtain and some of those guys that they have. Their defense has been Denver's defense is the reason they made the playoffs. They've been absolutely incredible this season. But I think the one spot to take advantage of that is with these running backs out of the backfield. And that's not just Ty Johnson, right? I think we could see James Cook, have a big day receiving as well. But when you want to talk about a receiving line of just 8.5 yards for someone that just recently in the biggest game of the season for the Bills when they played the Detroit Lions, Ty Johnson had over 100 receiving yards in that game. They clearly went into that game with some sort of we can create mismatches with Ty Johnson in the receiving game. They clearly went into that game against the Lions with that because there's no way he just would luck into getting 100 receiving yards. So I think we could see more of the same today, especially with how Denver has struggled to defend, running backs catching passes. And I've just had this weird feeling about Ty Johnson all week. That was before I dug in to kind of the research. So I like Ty Johnson over 8.5 receiving yards. I'm going to ladder it up a little bit. 25 plus yards, 4-1. You can get 10-1 on 40 plus on Bet365. FanDuel doesn't have it. They only go up to 25 plus. But yeah, on some other books, you can get him up to 40 or 50. I'm going to take some shots on some ladders here. I really like the spot for Ty Johnson. And I like the spot for him touchdown too. I mean, he only scored 1 touchdown this season, but he gets more involved in the red zone than you'd think. He has 6 targets inside the 20. For reference, Khalil Shakir on the season has 8. Keon Coleman has 8. So he's just as involved as some of those guys in the red zone. And we're getting really, really good odds on him, considering he's only scored 1. I mean, 6-1 for an anytime, 32-1 for the first touchdown. Ty Johnson is going to be, one of my big stands today in terms of betting, and, we'll kind of see what happens. Yeah, Mims has been really good. I mean, we played him on that 2-game DFS slate against the Bengals when he went crazy. He was low owned. Kind of been riding him to end the season, so I'm completely fine. Looking at Mims, given what he's done. 4,200 for Ty Johnson in DFS. I think that is interesting on the 3-game slate. Wouldn't play him on the big slate. We had more, kind of options at our disposal. But yeah, 4,200. I'm a little interested in there. You're playing tournaments on the big slate, or on the 3-game slate rather. All right, so. Yeah, I mean, that's my big prop in this game. Like I said, I like the Bills spread. I really don't trust this Broncos team. We kind of went through it on stream earlier this week, but if you look at the teams the Broncos have beat this season, I mean, we're talking, it's not a good list. Like, they have one good win, and it was week 3 on the road against Tampa, and they kind of just blitzed them from the start. Anytime they've played a good team, though, they have gotten humbled if you look at the majority of the season, right? So they started off the season with 2 losses to Seattle and Pittsburgh. So then they're back against the wall going to Tampa, right? They're 0-2, and then, they beat Tampa Bay. Then their next wins after Tampa Bay: New York Jets, who suck. Raiders suck. New Orleans Saints suck. Carolina Panthers suck. Falcons with Kirk Cousins suck. Las Vegas Raiders, terrible. Cleveland Browns, horrible, right? Colts, not very good. And then they beat the Chiefs backups in week 18. So really no good quality wins for the Denver Broncos, in my opinion. If we look at some of their losses, lost to the Chargers twice, 41-10 loss to the Ravens. It was a close game, but they lost to the Chiefs when Mahomes played. Lost to the Bengals in week 17. Like, I don't know. I'm just not impressed by this team. Their defense is very good. I don't trust their offense if they get down. Buffalo has been incredible all season, especially at home. They have been dominant at home this season. I feel like they've just been waiting for this. Like, the whole aura and energy about the team is so much different than in past years when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. And I don't trust Denver whatsoever in the spot. I would take, the over on Buffalo's team total. I would take alternate spread stuff. I think this is going to be a 2-touchdown win. And if I get proven wrong, I will admit it when I come on stream tomorrow. But that's how I see that game shaking out. Eagles-Packers, I still like the Eagles here. I've seen a lot of love for the Packers, to be quite honest with you. But maybe that's just my timeline, because, I mean, Philly is pretty public here. 70% of the bets, 77% of the money. I like the Eagles. Like, I really don't trust the Packers, to be honest with you. Really like the Packers coming into the season. Really like the Packers in, like, the middle point of the season. And since then, it's kind of just they've kind of lost their appeal for me. I think Christian Watson being out is a huge loss for them. I don't trust Dontavian Wicks at all right now. So that really just leaves Josh Jacobs, Romeo Doubs, Tucker Kraft. Like, that's who we're going with. I don't know. I really don't trust them offensively. Philly's defense has been incredible, right? One of the best defenses in all of football for the majority of the second half of the season. I don't really think Green Bay is going to have a lot of success here. We looked at this the other day, but I mean, their team total's 20.5. It's pretty juicy to the under. Yeah, I like Philly here, to be honest with you. Hurts is good to go. Saquon Barkley, I'm sure, has been waiting, for this moment after being on the Giants for all those years. Like, this guy is going to go crazy in the playoffs. I still think Philly's going to the Super Bowl, so I like Philly -4.5. Not really going to bet it. I don't have plans to bet it. If you want to do something with the money line, you could do that. But I lean Philly minus 4.5 in this game. It's not on my card though. If you just did Saquon and Eagles, that's plus 105. You want to do Jalen Hurts and Eagles, that's plus 135. Something along those lines, I think would be fine. There might be some opportunity with Green Bay props though. I mean, just because I'm not saying they're going to get shut out or anything. Like they're going to score some points. Jaden Reed was a huge X factor for them when these two teams played in Brazil in week 1. And it was like Jaden Reed's best game of the season. I don't know, like if Sandy was in here or something, I would ask him, like because he's a huge Packers fan. I really don't know like what the deal is with why Jaden Reed doesn't get on the field more. I mean, he's proven kind of what he can do. Like this is a guy that we were really high on coming into last season as a rookie. He had a great rookie season. So the expectations are even higher coming into, his second year. I thought he was going to have a huge year. And that's not to say he had a bad year, right? He had 900 yards, 6 touchdowns, but Jaden Reed is capable of much more than that. If we look at the first game of the season for Jaden Reed, he had 4 catches for 138 yards and a touchdown. He also ran a touchdown, right? That was the high point for Jaden Reed this year, week 1 in Brazil against the Eagles. He only topped 100 yards 2 more times after that against the Vikings, 7 for 139 and a touchdown. And then against the Detroit Lions on November 3rd, 5 catches for 113. That was the only other 2 like really big games he had this season. If we look at his rushing totals, though, in the last 4 games, 3-1-0-3, definitely could see Jaden Reed mix in. They're going to be pulling out all stops in this game to try and get a win. So if there was like some sort of if you get a Jaden Reed, 1.5 rushing attempts prop or something on like Prize Picks, I don't know like what the board. I don't look at Prize Picks because I can't bet on it in Ohio. But if you could get something like that, like I'd probably be interested. I think they'll probably bring out everything they can in this game. I could see him getting 2 or 3 carries, and I mean, to be honest, like he should be a part of the game plan here too, because he had such a big game against them in week 1. Like that should be noted. Romeo Doubs kind of is what he is. If he's clashing against those outside corners with how good they've been for Philly, like really not expecting a big game from him. Can't trust Dontavian Wicks, even though I think Dontavian Wicks is a good receiver. He's just had, struggles this year. I would assume Philly tries to stop the run here and make Jordan Love throw against the back end of their defense, and we'll see what happens. I'm interested. If I was going to take like Green Bay props though, like I guess it would just be back in on Jaden Reed for more pain, and I'm sure they'll play like Bo Melton over him, and we won't even know why he's not on the field. All right, in the night game, Commanders Bucks. Bucks are still -3. I like the Bucks -3. Jaden Daniels, amazing, great quarterback. Commanders had a great season. I don't like to bet on, guys making their first playoff start, especially when they're on the road. Tampa, I don't even love Tampa. Like these are 2 teams I really don't love. If this game was on a neutral field or if this game was in Washington, I would probably be on Washington, to be honest, even with Daniels making his first start. But since it's in Tampa, I will take Tampa -3 in this game. I like Cade Otton for props. He should be back, got a full practice in on Friday. And I mean, we know that was kind of like Baker's boy in the middle part of the season. Like he was going to Cade Otton pretty heavy, and he just got hurt, which that happens. But now he's coming back, so I like Cade Otton. Receptions, he's at 3.5. Don't know if I would go for 4 catches there. I'd probably rather take the 28.5 receiving yards. But I like him most importantly for a touchdown. Should get involved in the red zone. And yeah, it's my favorite Tampa guy for a touchdown today, Cade Otton. I also like Olamide Zaccheaus the more I looked into the matchup for Washington. So you could look at him for a touchdown. You could look at him over 40.5 receiving yards. I don't have either of these on my card, but I do lean Zaccheaus if I was going to pick a Washington pass catcher. Also want to note, this is potentially the last time ever we will get a Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore civil war. Like I thought earlier in the season it was going to be the last one. He gets traded, and then just so happens they match up in the playoffs. Lattimore is playing. I haven't looked at like future schedules, but I don't really think Mike Evans, like, these guys aren't going to play that much longer, and now they're in different divisions. So this could be the last time ever. And if it is the last one ever, it's very fitting that it comes in the playoffs. So appreciate the Mike Evans versus Marshawn Lattimore matchup today, since it might be the last one. But I like Kate Otten for a touchdown in this game. And I do have Tampa -3 on my card. Tomorrow we'll talk mostly about the Monday night game. I won't harp on that a ton here, just because we'll straighten tomorrow. So we'll talk about it then. Let's go through touchdown scores for today. Yesterday we went 1-1. Isaiah Likely got tackled inside the 5-yard line, so that was unfortunate. Ladd McConkey did come through, as he always does for us. I told Matt a few weeks ago that Ladd McConkey, like, you guys know I was hyping him up way before he ever even got drafted, but this might just be my guy for the rest of his career. I mean, this dude, in a short amount of time in his rookie year, he came through for me betting-wise, like, more so than any other player, and he only had one season to do it, and he did it. So that just might be my guy moving forward. I might have to get a jersey. I'm not even jersey guy. Might have to get a jersey. All right, for the first game though, if you guys were in here earlier, I harped on Ty Johnson, so definitely interested in him at 6-1. And other than that, I'd probably go Shakir if I was gonna pick one other. I mean, James Cook at -120 is probably fine, but I don't like to bet minus money touchdown plays unless I'm pairing it with something. So I'll take Shakir or Ty Johnson for my two picks from the early game. For the next game, I mean, it's Barkley or Jalen Hurts. I don't really want to bet a -165 unless you pair it with Eagles money line. So I'll just default to Jalen Hurts here. Not really worried about the concussion stuff. You guys know, if you're watching the stream, you watch football, you know that for whatever reason, the Philadelphia Eagles love to get tackled at like the 2-yard line. They do it. It seems like every single week they do it, and then Jalen Hurts runs the ball in. So Jalen Hurts at even money is my touchdown pick in that game. And then Jaden Reed, if you want a Packer, would be my lean there, but probably not going to bet that. Then in the night game, like I said, Kate Otten is my pick. Olamide Zaccheaus, if you want to take a Washington Commander. Those would be my two picks in that game. For a first touchdown parlay, oh, man. I think you could go Josh Allen. I think you could go James Cook. Let's go Dalton Kincaid. I like to bet on these tight ends. So we'll go Kincaid, Hurts, and Kate Otten for today's first touchdown parlay. 179-1. What is that? $5 gets you $9,000. Seems pretty good. Kincaid, Hurts, Kate Otten, first touchdown parlay. If we could just get Kincaid, I mean, just give us a chance, right? Like, you'd feel pretty confident in this happening. So, like, if you could just give us a sweat, like, get us to Sunday night with a $9,000 sweat, that would be pretty crazy. How did this just move down? Did someone just put this in? This was 179-1. Now it's 167. How did this just move down within 5 seconds of me talking about this? Looks like Lamar took back the MVP. Yeah, I mean, MVP regular season award. So I don't really think we can count what happens yesterday and today, but they're the two most deserving. I mean, you can't really go wrong with either one. The Ravens are the most complete team in the NFL, in my opinion. I wrote that in my blog. Like, with how their defense has adjusted and played, they're so good. I mean, and I also wrote that, they got so much flack last year for not running the ball against Kansas City. They addressed it by bringing in Derrick Henry. He did what Derrick Henry does yesterday. He ran for over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, they're going to be really tough to beat. If they have a healthy Zay Flowers against Kansas City, I might take him. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. You know how I am about betting against Patrick Mahomes, so I don't want to say I'll take him, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Did you talk DFS? Oh, yeah. So, like I said, quarterback. I mean, I think Daniels and Allen will be the highest owned options at quarterback. Running back. I mean, you have Bucky Irving, Saquon, Jacobs, Cook for like the expensive guys. I'm probably just gonna fade Jacobs here and hope the Packers don't do anything on offense. I'll probably be lower on him. I like Bucky. I like Saquon. I like McLaughlin. Buffalo's another team, honestly, like similar to Denver. Buffalo struggles against pass catching running backs, so I could see McLaughlin having a good game. So I like him at 4,900. I like Ty Johnson at 4,200. If you're playing tournaments, those are two tournament options that you can consider. At receiver, Shakir, McMillan. I think those guys are going to be pretty high on. Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton. I kind of like Zacchaeus at 4,400. Like I said, going on with Jane Daniels there. I like him. I like Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown. Both I think are pretty good plays. But I'm probably going to start my build with Shakir and Zacchaeus and see what else I can do. At tight end, I like Cade Otton. Like I said, I like Kincaid. Zach Ertz has been very involved in the red zone recently. He's been scoring touchdowns. He's only 4,300. And then you have Tucker Kraft as well. Tucker Kraft and Ertz will probably be the two highest owned at tight end. But if I do Josh Allen, maybe we'll do a double. Like maybe we'll do Josh Allen, Shakir, Kincaid, and then use some of those cheaper receivers like Zacchaeus and a cheap running back, maybe a quad stack, right, with Josh Allen, like Josh Allen, Ty Johnson, Shakir, Kincaid. That could be interesting. I might do that, to be honest with you. It might be a good build. But yes, Leroy. Overall, though, if you guys have any other questions, just tag me on Twitter or go to rollinginsights.com. Click the Discord link in the bottom of the screen over there on rollinginsights.com. We're going to be launching a Discord for Rolling Insights. So if you have questions, you can reach out to me there as well. Good luck today with your bets. Good luck today with DFS. Whatever you guys are playing, hopefully we hit this Kincaid first touchdown, at least give us a sweat for the rest of the day. That'd be awesome. But thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be live tomorrow, 11 a.m. We'll recap today, preview the last wildcard playoff game tomorrow night. Good luck, and I'll see everybody tomorrow at 11.